Yeah, I was talking about 2 games that ended Leicester City 4, Tottenham 1. And once again, Tottenham Hotspur do drop points. And honestly, you never play no with Tottenham at this moment in time at all. You honestly never know. I mean, last week, of course, they beat Manchester City. This week, they go away to Leicester City and they lose 4-1. So, I mean, there's I don't know it's a real weird one what they're gonna do with like about the whole Antonio Conte situation. Like, do they want him in? Do they want him out? I know that a lot of Tottenham fans aren't happy with the way that they're playing football because obviously, as we all know, like they don't win much, but Tottenham they have got a lot of credit in the past, and from neutrals and of course their fans, and the fans like playing good, entertaining football. That's what, Tottenham fans are used to. But at this moment in time, Tottenham fans aren't seeing that because obviously, I mean, look, though, I know like there were a lot of Tottenham fans really happy with the appointment of Conte, but why were you like shouting around for this appointment to happen if you knew you weren't going to get good football? Because everyone should know by now, if Antonio Conte is the manager of your club, you're not going to play that great football. That's the same thing as Jose Mourinho. If Jose Mourinho is manager of your club, you're not going to play great football, and that's the thing. And I just it seems like people didn't know that, but people should have knew. If Antonio Conte is your manager, then the football is not going to be incredibly up to standards as you would ideally hope for. And I feel like that's the issue with Tottenham. To be fair, like they don't play good football. I feel like that, and it just doesn't the way of football doesn't suit the team at all. Because I've always said this, and like I think every Tottenham video that I've done, like you can't play defensive football with not a very good defense. You can't play defensive football with not a very good goalkeeper. And obviously their goalkeeper Fraser Forster he's not great. That's all I'll say. He's not bloody great at all, Fraser Forster. So yeah, he's not exactly a great backup goalkeeper at all. But yeah, disappointment again for Tottenham. I mean, there's got to be some changes there. They've got to have some play stuff done, in my opinion, Tottenham, because there's a lot of stuff in that team that needs to change, in my opinion. There's a lot of play things and issues in that Tottenham Hotspur team which needs to be worked on, and they need to change because at this current moment in time, how Tottenham are going about things and how they play football, in my opinion, it's nowhere near up to standard. And I mean, look, they got a win against Manchester City last week, though. So I mean, like the thing is that Tottenham is so unpredictable. You just never play no with them, and I feel like what Tottenham fans. I mean, I'm just only talking from neutral perspective here, but from what I think Tottenham fans want is to play entertaining football and be fairly consistent and not be dropping stupid points and not getting battered by teams like Leicester who have been in the relegation scrap this season. So I completely understand Tottenham fans' frustration, to be fair. And yeah, honestly, clearly a play isn't working out at all with Antonio Conte as their manager. It's clearly not working out. Tactics don't work at all. So I think there has to be a change at Tottenham, in my opinion. I do both think that there has to be a change, and I mean, I don't know who they would get as manager. I know that I've heard a lot of their Bay fans calling for like Pochettino to be appointed again, which I mean it's a bit weird because I don't think you really win anything with Poch as your manager. But if you want him, then then I don't know, go after him, because I feel like what Tottenham fans want at the moment is just to be playing good football, and and of course they want to be fairly consistent, and that they're not consistent at all at this moment in time. They're really really poor. They're really 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 poor at this current moment in time, and yeah, in my opinion, there's a lot of things that need to be worked on in that Tottenham team that everyone's seeing at the moment. There's a lot of things that need to be worked on. A lot of changes need to be made, and yeah, I just think it's safe to say that Antonio Conte is not really the man for the job at Tottenham. I think that's safe to say. I believe think that's safe to say. Antonio Conte probably is not the man for the job, and yeah, I do feel like Tottenham will need to change the manager. But I do get why people say they don't need to though, because obviously they beat City last week, and and like you never know with them other teams. Players could be getting tired, and then they could get top four. I don't know. Like, there's definitely still a chance. I mean, if you play like that, then there probably isn't a chance. But I mean, the thing is with Tottenham is that you just never know what you're gonna get with them, and that's the thing. That's the thing. You just never play know with Tottenham what you're gonna get from them, and yeah, I think that's an issue that a lot of fans have with them is that they're so unpredictable, and you just don't know what's going to happen with them. You just don't really know what's going to happen with them. But yeah, all there is to say is, it's if you look at Tottenham, then should they sack Antonio Conte? Because from a neutral perspective, I don't know. To me, they just seem like a very blatantly inconsistent side. Yeah, to me, they just seem really, really, really blatantly inconsistent and just don't really know what to do. And yeah, the players kind of look a bit clueless. I think the Tottenham defense is absolutely dreadful. And, I've said it lots of times before, you can't play defensive football with an awful defense. And Tottenham play defensive football, but they have an absolutely awful defense. To be fair, for how they want to play, their defense is absolutely awful, and you can't play. Yeah, in my opinion, you can't play your special. Conte can't play a special defensive football with that defense that he's got. In my opinion, it just won't work at all for them. It just honestly won't work at all for them. You can't play as defensive as they play with the defense that they've got. It just, in my opinion, it just won't work for them whatsoever. And that's gonna be something that really does cost them, and make them have a bit of a downfall, if anything. So, yeah, I honestly do not rate their defense whatsoever. I think it's honestly absolutely dreadful, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think it's dreadful. Let's go on to some player ratings real quick then. Let's go on to some very quick player ratings. What was that? But yeah, but just before we get on to them, though, of course, I might put out a poll in a minute. Like, should Antonio Conte get the sack from Tottenham? Should Conte get the sack? Because I mean, from a neutral perspective, I don't know what they should do with him. I mean, it's could it be a bit of a risk sacking him at this time of the season? I don't know. I don't know who there is out there that Tottenham could possibly go out and get, though. I think that's the thing that you need to think about. Like, for them to, of course, sack Antonio Conte, in my opinion, they need a solid, someone lined up that they can come in. Like, surely, like, they already have a plan for their manager who they would, of course, want to bring in, if anything. So, yeah, it's a real interesting situation right now at Tottenham and what they're going to do. But yeah, I just feel like how they play, it does not suit that team that we look at. To be fair, it does not suit their team whatsoever, and it's a huge downfall for them, in my opinion. It's an absolute huge downfall for them, and yeah, like there's got to be questions asked, in my opinion. There's got to be a lot of questions asked of these kind of performances from them. But yeah, Leicester look to be climbing their way out of that relegation zone, so a big fair play to them as they are climbing out of that relegation zone. So let's do some quick player ratings. Danny Ward gets a 6, Castagna gets a 7, Shatar gets a 7. FaZe, yeah, 7. Yeah, that Leicester defense looked pretty good today. Yeah, no, 7. Mendy, 7. Dewsbury Hall, like 6.5 or something. Tete, yeah, 6.5. Madison, probably an 8 today. Looked good. 7 for Barnes and 7 for Iniacho. Yeah, they're my player ratings for Tottenham. I mean, for Leicester, sorry. The bench as well. Vardy, 7. 7 for Pereira, and Didi 7. Pray 7. Okay. So they're the player ratings for them now. For Tottenham, this is going to be interesting to see what we do with these Tottenham players, of course, as obviously it's not looking great for them whatsoever at all. I mean, just look at this team. I mean, just look at this defense for a minute of Tottenham. Forster in goal. I don't even know who that is. Dyer, Davis, and Porro. God knows who that is. Yeah, if you just look at that defense for a minute of Tottenham, it looks extremely bloody poor. If we're being completely honest, that defense looks extremely poor and disappointing from Tottenham. To be fair, like it's a very poor defense, and you can't play football playing like that, in my opinion. Like with that blade team, in my opinion, and with that defense, you can't play defensive football with that. Honestly, you just can't do that, in my opinion. You can't play that defensive football playing with that defense. It just, in my opinion, just won't work for them at all. So yeah, it just doesn't work. Anyway, let's go on to the player ratings. Fraser Forster in goal. 3. I mean, nah, 4. We'll give him a 4. Tanager, 4. Eric Dyer, 3. Honestly, Eric Dyer is awful, to be fair. You have to feel for Tottenham fans having to put up with him in the back line. Honestly, Eric Dyer is absolutely awful to watch. Let's be honest with you. He's probably even worse than Harry Maguire, and that's saying something. I mean, he might not be, I don't know. But yeah, he is pretty awful, Eric Dyer. He is played pretty awful. Davis 4, Porro 4, Højbjerg. The midfield for Tottenham, looking at that's not great as well, with Højbjerg and Bentancur. Like, that's not great. 4 for Bentancur, 4 for Højbjerg, 4 for Bentancur. The midfield's horrible as well. Perisic 4, Kuleveski 4, Heung-min Son, give him a 5, and Kane a 5. I just feel like, the reason I give Son and Kane a 5 is probably because of their work rates. I mean, there wasn't like amazing service for Kane or Son today. I mean, honestly, it was it's just pretty poor for the midfield mostly, in my opinion. Sanchez 4, I know 3 probably. Richarlison 3, Royale, Mr. Royale 3, Danjuma 3, and Sarr 4. Okay, so yeah, they're the player ratings done for. Of course, the player ratings done for Tottenham. I mean, honestly, there's got to be questions asked. There's just got to be questions asked of them, to be fair. But yeah, don't take this win away from Leicester though. Like it was a very deserved win from Leicester. I mean, honestly, they of course put on a very fantastic performance today to get that 4-1 win over them. And where does this leave Leicester in the table now? Leicester now up to 13th. They're now 6 points clear of that relegation zone. I mean, honestly, it's a real interesting one to see who gets relegated this season. It's going to be really, really interesting to see who gets relegated because, 6 points between 13th and 20th. I mean, honestly, you just never know. You just don't know what's going to happen, and it certainly is interesting. It certainly is very, 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 very interesting to see how this current moment in time, from a neutral's perspective, of course, like my team isn't in the relegation zone. It's definitely interesting to see. But yeah, they're the player ratings done. Should we put out a quick poll about Conte? Should Conte get the sack? I mean, let's see. Make sure you guys, of course, drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Should Tottenham sack. That's how you spell sack. Sack Conte. Yes or no? Votes on the poll now, guys. Should Tottenham sack Antonio Conte? Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a real interesting situation. That whole Conte thing. So obviously the goal scored today, for Leicester, Mendy, Maddison, Iniacho, Barnes. Iniacho got an assist and a goal, same as Maddison. He got an assist and a goal. Tottenham won it up as well. Yeah, Bentancur with their goal, and Tottenham did take the lead, and yeah, just simply let it slip away to Leicester. And the King Power is usually a very tough place to go. Like, the King Power is not an easy place to go at all, and and I mean, everyone knows the King Power is not a easy place to go. But for a side like Tottenham, like a team in the Big Six, who you would call a Big Six team, like you wouldn't really expect them, especially with how Leicester have been playing recently. And if you went and just looked at that table, then 5th place versus 13th, then you wouldn't really expect it, would you? You wouldn't expect like a 5th place team to go on and lose to go on and lose 4-1 to Leicester. I completely get Tottenham fans' frustration, and I personally don't think Conte will be sacked. I don't think Tottenham will sack Conte just yet. I don't think they will, unless they already have a replacement lined up, though. That's the thing. If they have a replacement lined up, then yeah, they probably will. But if they don't have a replacement lined up, and I don't have a bloody clue who this replacement would be, then yeah, I don't really know what they would do. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Just trying to have a look at some. Oh yeah, Fabrizio Romano. Let's see if there's anything about Conte or anyone on here. No, there's nothing really about Conte just yet, or any Conte replacement possibility. Yeah, I don't think they will sack him, because I have no idea who they would even line up to be his replacement, unless they just decide to sack him just quickly with immediate effect and not have a replacement line up, and just go on and get that an interim manager or something for the rest of the season. Even though I'm sure Tottenham fans won't really be happy at that, because they don't really want to write the season off. But I mean, if I was them, though, I wouldn't write the season off just yet, though. I know you've just got battered 4-1 to Leicester, but next week you could go on and who you playing next week? Who had Tottenham got next week? But yeah, you've got a London derby against West Ham next week at home, which would be a good one where you could pick up points. And then they got Chelsea. They could go on and beat them. I mean, it's an interesting situation. And then Tottenham have got some interesting games, to be fair, coming up. They've got West Ham, then Chelsea. So 2 London derbies that they've got. So it's looking that Tottenham have got some interesting games, but have they proved in the past years, never know what to predict with them. They're so unpredictable. Last week they beat City. This week they lost 4-1 to Leicester. So yeah, you just don't know. You just never know what you're gonna get with them, and that's why I think the fans are annoyed, is because they're so inconsistent. They're extremely inconsistent. Probably the most inconsistent team in the league right now. To be fair, I wouldn't get that far, but no, they are one of the most inconsistent sides in the league right now, and also they're not giving their fans great football to watch. Let's be real, they're not playing great football. And as I said, the reason why I probably blame why there's a lot of people up is because they play the way they play, but it doesn't really work, because they've got an absolutely awful defense. Distribution from the back for Tottenham's absolutely awful. set pieces, they can't really defend, like crosses into the box, balls into the box. They just all seem at times just play stand there confused, looking around at each other. Yeah, I mean, if Conte is still going to be manager of Tottenham, then he's got a lot of work to do and a lot to sort out. That's if he wants to even stay as manager, because I highly doubt he'd resign. Like these days, you literally see nobody resign because the amount of money that you get back from being sacked, like you just won't see anybody resign because of the amount of money that you are going to get from being sacked from the club. Of course. So Conte is going to stay on, but if he does stay on, then mate, you've got a lot to work on because there's extremely a lot of work to do with that Tottenham side because it's obvious to absolutely everyone, those Tottenham fans, and like for me as a neutral, I think it's safe to say, it's like you just know, you just don't know. Like, should they write their season off here, just sack Conte, or what do they do? How are Tottenham going to go about this whole thing? It's gonna be really interesting to see what they do. But yeah, from what everyone's seeing at the moment, like this can't continue, and they've got a lot of work to do. They've got a lot of work to do. Daniel Levy literally never backs them in the market or anything. So of course, I understand why a lot of Tottenham fans won't be happy with Daniel Levy. Yeah, there's a lot of issues in that Tottenham side. Let's be real. There's a lot of issues in that Tottenham side, which they're really going to be hoping to work on. Of course, Conte is currently trending on Twitter. Tottenham fans aren't happy. If I'm looking on Twitter here, Conte's trending, and Tottenham fans don't really look happy at all. With Conte and Levy, it looks like Dyer as well. Yeah, honestly, that's not looking. Yeah, honestly, it's not looking good for Tottenham at all, or Conte, or anybody. I mean, I don't know. It's a real weird situation because who's going to want to go on and manage Tottenham at the moment though? Like who would they get to be their manager if anything? Like who is going to manage them? There's literally no one who I know of who could possibly go out to manage them. I mean, they got Conte at the moment, and Tottenham are currently 5th place. They came off a win against Manchester City last week, lost to Leicester this week. They're extremely inconsistent. So, like, they'd be thinking, like they could stick with Conte. Then, I mean, there's like Zidane out there, but I don't even know, and I don't think he's really Zidane. I don't think he'll really be going on and wanting to manage Tottenham. Like, I can't picture Zidane. At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium managing them. Like, I don't know who there is available. I don't know who there is available. I mean, it's a real weird one. I mean, like they could look in. There's always Poch who they're still calling on though, and for some reason they want Poch back. But lads, Tottenham fans, like if you want to win things, then I don't think going to Poch as of now is the best idea. Yes, you'll play fantastic football with him. Poch, he's a great manager in my opinion. He's a great manager, but he's not like that kind of serial winner though, is he? Or it might just be that Tottenham bad luck because that they never win anything, and it's always, I don't know, it just always seems hard for any manager who goes in and manages Tottenham to go on and actually win anything for them. So it might be that Tottenham curse because obviously Jose Mourinho, who is known as that of course serial winner, Jose Mourinho, he wasn't able to win anything at Tottenham, and Conte only got there like last season though. Conte, who is a serial winner so far, can't really win anything with them. But I think it is obvious, and to see if a manager is going to be able to win stuff with you though. that's the thing. Like Eric Ten Hag, he's came into Manchester United, and I think it's clear that we are going to be able to win things at Manchester United under Eric Ten Hag, because we're seeing some promising, like we're seeing some real promising things at the moment. Tottenham, on the other hand, if you look at them, then it's not like guaranteed under Conte that you're going to win anything, because of, first of all, the kind of football that you guys play, and just and how inconsistent they are. And yeah, it's hard to say what the, looking at that Tottenham team, like what the, I don't know. I think the defense is a main issue. It's hard to say what like the main issue is, but I think the defense is definitely a huge issue. I mean, it might not even be Conte. I mean, Daniel Levy literally never they like backs anyone up, really. He never really backs a manager. So, if he could get Conte the players that Conte wants, then, and like a solid defense, because I'm sure Conte wants to improve on that defense, but yeah, like Conte's not gonna want to change how they really play, because Conte only really knows that that can't play defensive style that he brings. That's the only style that Conte really knows of. So you can't expect Conte to play like go on and change the way they play, because that's the play defensive style that Conte always brings. That's the only one that he knows of, really. So yeah, it's a real sticky situation at Tottenham right now, and they've certainly got a lot of things that they need to do, a lot of things to work on the training ground, and Conte's got to have some words with Daniel Levy, in my opinion, because Conte's got to have words with Daniel Levy, simply in my opinion, because Conte's not getting back. Daniel Levy's not giving Conte the players that he wants. Because Conte's calling. I mean, he's calling after a new defense, but mostly he's just working on like the midfield and up front, where he went for Richarlison. But we need that Tottenham they need to work on the midfield as well. It's not just the defense, and it looks like they're going to be probably selling Harry Kane in January. I'm not 100%. Sorry, the summer. Sorry, I'm not 100% who to though. Man United, we've been linked with Harry Kane. So yeah, Man United, we've been linked with Harry Kane, so he could possibly be coming to us. I don't know where Harry Kane's going to go, but it looks like Tottenham might be losing him for a reasonable price. Though, like Tottenham aren't going to let Harry Kane go that easily, though, are they? Because Harry Kane's a real important player to them. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they go on and do. To be fair, but yeah, that's just for everyone to wait and see, though. With that whole situation, of course. But yeah, guys, make sure you smash the subscribe button, drop a like on the stream as well. Vote on the poll: should Antonio Conte get sacked from Tottenham? We shall see. But yeah, okay, 5:30, which is around now. That's Bournemouth versus Newcastle. Hopefully Newcastle can drop points to Bournemouth. Bournemouth are home, but yeah, Bournemouth are probably going to get relegated, of course. But yeah, loads of issues at Tottenham right now, though, with their defence, which needs to be worked on the most. Some interesting results as well. West Ham and Chelsea, both of them drawing 1-1. So Chelsea dropping even more bloody points today. Wow, Chelsea dropping more points. Arsenal and Brentford. I mean, Arsenal dropped more points as well. Arsenal have picked up 1 point in their last 2 games. So Arsenal so far have picked up 1 point out of 6 in their last 2 Premier League games, which is poor. Crystal Palace and Brighton drew. That one had a draw written all over it, though. Fulham 2-0 win over Forest as expected. Fulham are now 7th place in the league now on 35 points. Who expected that? Fulham 2-0 against Forest. Obviously, yeah, Leicester 4-1 against Tottenham. That's the one we're talking about now. And Wolves making a massive comeback, winning 2-1 against Southampton. So, yeah, I think Arsenal are going to be a big talking point for a lot of people. Though, like, what's happening with Arsenal? I mean, are they going to keep dropping points from here? Are City eventually going to overtake them and possibly win the league? I don't know, but I mean, people have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that whole title situation, and also so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay. Anyway, guys, I am probably going to wrap this up here, of course. And yeah, I think Arsenal were a huge talking point. Tottenham, of course, are a huge talking point as well, of course. Don't forget, Tottenham are an absolutely massively talking point as of now. And it's going to be interesting to see how things go with them. Will they sack Conte? Will Conte be out of a job by Monday? I mean, or will they sack him on Monday? We'll have to wait and see. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, Premier League's looking really, really, really competitive at the moment. It's Premier League's played great to watch. It's looking extremely competitive, which is of course great to see as football fans. Of course, how competitive the Premier League's looking. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. So thank you for watching this video of King Ols. I'll speak to you on the next one. Anyway, thanks for watching this video of King Ols. Speak to you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.